What's up, y'all? It's Clifford Campbell, and today we're doing 4.1, mean, median, mode, and range. I feel like this is an easy one for a lot of students in terms of they forget it because it's like what they learned, a while back. But after we review it, they pick it up pretty quickly, and it does increase their scores from what I've recognized. So let's just talk about what they are real quick. Okay, so what is mean? Besides your teacher. Okay, so mean means average. And remember, average is like if they give you a certain number of numbers. Like let's say they give you 3 numbers, A, B, and C. I'm using letters. We're going to add them together, and we're going to divide by the number of them. Yeah, and that's going to equal your average. Okay, and then so whenever you see a mean or average question, you are automatically going to that. Okay, you are not going to use any other formula. You just are going to use that. I mean, you're going to divide by whatever number they give you. Obviously, it might not be 3. Okay, median. Median means the one in the middle. Okay, now in order to do these, you first need to write them out in consecutive order. Okay, so you need to order all your numbers, and then you find the one in the middle. If there's 2 in the middle, then you add them and you divide by 2. Okay, so that's median. Median means middle. Okay, mode. I don't really ever see any students telling me they forgot what mode was or that they got a mode question, but mode is just the one that's repeated the most. Okay, it's the one that's repeated the most out of the numbers that are given to you. Okay, and then the last one is range, which this one is very, very simple. No one should miss it if it asks for range. It's just the largest number in the data set minus the smallest number in the data set. That's all you got to do. Those are your 4 things right there. Okay, let's do some word problems here. Or you know what? First, let's just do these things with some numbers. So I'm just going to throw some numbers out here. 5, 12, 7, 8, 10. Okay, we'll be good with 5 of them. Okay, if we're going to get the average, you would just do 5 plus 12 plus 7 plus 8 plus 10, and you divide by however many there are. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. You'd equal that, and then you would just add them up and, get whatever your answer is here, okay? Now, for the middle number, the median, that was average, right? Median. What you would do is you would write them out in order first. So 5, 7, 8, 10, 12. Okay, and then what you do is you mark them out, one on the front, one on the end. Second on the front, second on the end, until you get to the middle number, which in this case is 8. Now, if there are 2 numbers there, like let's create another data set that we can do that'll have 2 numbers, okay? Let's go with like 5. I'm just making them up real quick, okay? 7, 9, 11, 12, 15. I think that's 6 of them. Yeah. Okay, so first one, last one. Second to last one. And then you're in the middle, okay? Both of these are in the middle, right? You would just add them up and divide by 2, which in this case, 9 plus 11 is 20, divided by 2 is 10. So in this case, your median would be 10. Okay, let's go back to these numbers right here. Okay, which one is the mode? Which one is repeated the most? Well, they're all repeated once in this case, so none of them are the mode. If, like, let's say you had another 12 in there or something, then you say the mode is 12, okay? Okay, now let's go back to these. Okay, let's do the range. Okay, so range. Range just means you grab the largest number out of this data set, which is 12, and you subtract it by the smallest number out of the data set, which is 5. And 12 minus 5 is 7, so that is my range. Okay? There is the idea for those 4 things. Now let's set them up in some word problems, that'll more accurately represent what you're probably going to see on the TSI. Okay, so I feel like you can probably do the easier ones here. This is my ratios ones. Give me one second. Okay, so looking at the mean, median, and mode ones worksheet, I think you're going to be fine on doing it like a simple one. Like a student scored 72, 85, and 91 on 3 tests. What's the student average score? You would just do average, right? That's not going to be difficult. It's just going to be what we were just teaching right now, which is you add them up and divide by the number of them, right? The ones that I would think that people are going to be having problems with, okay, because my students have problems on them, are something like this, where it says like the average of 5 numbers is 12, and they give you some of those numbers, and they say, what is this last number that you don't know, okay? So let's act like it's your tests here or something. Let's say you have taken some tests, and you got a 6, 7 on one of them. 6, 7. Okay, you got a 72 on another, and let's say you pull off a 90 on the third one. Okay, but you're going to take a fourth one, okay? But you don't know what you got on it yet. You're going to take a fourth one, and you want that average to be a B when you're done, yeah? So that's how you would set something up here. Like, let's write this as a word problem. So let's say you scored, the way it would probably be worded is you scored a 67, 72, 90 on 3 exams. You will take a 4th exam, and the score averages to an 80. What is the 4th score? Okay, so you're probably gonna get something like that, and that's what we just set up right here. We added the ones that they gave us, we divided by the number of exams, which there's gonna be 4, and then you equal to 80. Okay, then what you do from here is you just go about solving, right? So what I would do first is I would add these 3 things up, okay? So let me do that real quick. 67 plus 72 plus 90. That's going to come out to 229. So we're going to have 229 plus x over 4 equals 80. Okay? And then how do you solve for x from here? So what we're going to do is we're going to try to get rid of this 4. That's going to be the first step we need to do. So we're going to multiply by 4. What you do to one side, you do to the other. So multiply by 4 gets rid of it there. So we're going to have 229 plus x equals 80 times 4, which is going to be 320. Okay? And then you're just solving for x. So we're going to subtract the 229 off of here. And that's going to give me an answer of 320 minus 229, 91. So on my last exam here, I need to score a 91 so that I average out to a B. Okay? That's what I need to do. So let's look at one of these again real quick. Let's say the average of 4 numbers is 12. One of those numbers is 14. What is the sum of the other 3? Okay, so let's do something like that. Okay, so the average of, let's say, 5 numbers is 11. Let's say 2 of those numbers are, I don't know, let's say 6 and 13. Thought I was going to go with 7, huh? 6, 7. Okay, 2 of those numbers are 6 and 13. What is the sum of the other 3? Okay, now first off, we need to address this. What does sum of the other 3 means? That means sum means we added them together. Okay, so we summed up those other 3. So if you were setting this up, what you would do is you would set up, well, I know 6 and 13 are 2 of the numbers. I don't know the other 3 of them. So what you would think is like, oh, well, the other 3 added together, if I divide it by 5, should be 11, because that's what the average is, right, at 11. Well, we want the sum of these, which means they're all added together. So I don't need to think of them as different numbers. I can just do 6 plus 13 plus x, because x is going to be all of them added together, divided by 5 equals 11, okay? And we just need to go about solving for this. So 6 plus 13, we're going to get 19. So we're going to have 19 plus x over 5 equals 11. We got to solve for x. Remember, it's just like before. Get rid of that 5. So multiply by 5. That gets rid of those. We got 19 plus x equals 55. Subtract by 19. So we get x equals 55 minus 19. That comes out to 36. Okay, and there we go. That's what the sum of these are. Now, if you were wondering, like, well, what is each one of them? I don't know what each one of them are, but if you, like, divided it by 3, like 36 divided by 3, you could say, oh, they're probably, you know, around 12 each, you know. But I wanted the sum of them, so the sum of them, 12 plus 12 plus 12, is 36. That's my answer, okay? So that's how you're going to do something like that on the means. Okay, so that's how they're going to do the averages. They're going to look something like that, okay? Now the next one's mean, mode, and range. I don't know how hard they can make these ones. Let's start with range. I mean, they're just going to give you some numbers. So let's say we're testing. So you have a bunch of tests. You got a 70, a 65, let's say like an 82, a 91, and I don't know. You did bad one time. You got a 55. You know, I'm gonna do one more, and a 77. Okay, and it says, you know, what is the range? Okay, so range. This should be very easy. I mean, it's just going to ask what is the range of your test scores or something. You're just going to find the largest number, which to me looks like 91, and then you're going to subtract off the smallest number, which it's not 70, 65 is the lowest here, and then 55 is the lowest, 55 is the lowest. So I'm just going to do 91 minus 55, and that comes out to 36. Okay, and that would be your range. Now the median, you would write them out in order, right? So if it asks for a median, there's one way I can think of that you could kind of make medians a little difficult, but it's really not that difficult. Now put it on the worksheet. Okay, so first off, with medians, you got to write them in order, right? So 55, and then 65, and then let's see what would be next. It looks like 70, and then I need 77, and then 82, and 91. Okay, so I got them all. Okay, so let's mark them off. One in the front, one in the back, second in the front, second in the back, and then those two are in the middle, so I would just add them together and divide it by 2, and that's going to be my median, right? Which, if they leave it as a fraction, I mean, if they leave it as a fraction, then that would just be 147 over 2, right? But if you have a calculator in your top right-hand corner, you could just divide it to get the decimal, which is going to be 73.5. Okay. The only way that I can think that and then mode would just be however many are repeated the most, which in this case, there's none of them. The only way that I can think about making median difficult is, like, let's go with this test score thing, okay? Let's say that the test scores, you got test scores, okay, and they come out to, you know, let's say we got these same ones, 55, I'm going to leave one of them out though, 65, 70, 82. Okay, and you don't know the other one, okay? The other one's like just random. Okay, so, and it says the median is 65. What is a possible value for x? Okay, so you would look at it and you'd be like, okay, well, I'm going to put them in order, which I already have them in order. So 55, 65, 70, 82, and then I don't know where x is, but I know that the median is supposed to be 65, so that's supposed to be my median. Okay, it's saying what's a possible value for x? Well, it looks like I need it, if this is going to be my median, I need it to kind of even out over here. I got 2 over here, so I need 2 over here, right? So anything less than 65 is a good value that x could be, right? It could be 64. It could be 62. It could be 51. Anything that's less than 65 would make sense for a value of x, okay? And that's mean, median, mode, and range. I hope it all made sense, and I'll see you on the next one. Adios.